Today we will talk about comparative subject, basically comparing two things. In Turkish we call it karşılaştırma because karşılaştırmak means comparing. And I know karşı is like against, so you are basically having one object against the other and talking and comparing them by their, I don't know, size, their other qualifications, other properties. So I see some beginners, I see some intermediate speakers, and I think some advanced speakers. For the sake of everyone, I will try to keep this for beginners. It will be beginner friendly. And finally, comparatives. How does it work? Which words do we need to know to make a comparison? I put these in 4 different categories. Some other books, some other resources might have a different categorization, but that's just my own way. I believe that will be easy. So we will compare things to a higher degree, and then we will compare them to a lesser degree, then to the most degree, and finally the same degree. And you can see the examples of what they actually mean. So more than, less than, the most, as much as, or just like. We will start with comparing things to higher degree. Like we will learn how to say more than in Turkish. Starting with this. So first, let's learn how to say more in Turkish. I mean, we will learn more than, but first let's learn more. The key word here, what you need to know for more is daha. When you compare two things in Turkish, the key word, the comparison word is daha. It basically means more. And that's all. So let's just move to examples. I have these first examples here. If you have some ideas for different examples, you can come up with them, you can type them in the chat. I will also be typing them into the table. So we have hızlı, which is fast, and then when I put daha in front of it, it becomes, I know in English it's faster, but I wanted to stress this part, more fast. And yavaş, so slow, then daha yavaş, so slower or more slow. Akıllı, which means smart. Akıllı, smart. Wait, daha yaval değil, daha yavaş. And akıllı, daha akıllı. So smarter or more smart. Just typing these alternatives to show how it works in Turkish. We don't have this ending. We always go with daha, more. And kısa, yes, which is short. Daha kısa, shorter or more short. Or let's have an example where the ending doesn't work, like güzel, which means beautiful. Daha güzel, more beautiful. I will explain daha fazla later. So we are going step by step. So all of these examples have a common point. They have a common, thing. They have something in common. Do you know what it is? Like, what kind of words are these? They are all more, yes. I mean the roots of them. Like hızlı, yavaş, akıllı, kısa. They are adjectives. Yes, exactly. They describe nouns. That's why we started with comparing adjectives, because comparing nouns is a little bit different. You need something a little bit extra. So we'll learn how to say then. We will put them in full sentences with then. So then, like more than in Turkish. So now this dan suffix, the uppercase letters like big D, I'm calling them big, uppercase D and A, they indicate there's a consonant hardening here, that like there may be. It's not always done. It could be like done, then. It could be tan, ten. Okay? So, we use done, but where do we insert done? It's kinda like backwards in Turkish. It works the other way around. I mean, the order of the suffix goes the other way around. We don't say like more than, we basically say like then first and then more. And here's a table to show what I mean. So the compared elements, like we are comparing this car, bu araba. We are comparing it, the comparison is by the speed, hızlı, so fast, and the reference element. Like we are comparing it to the other car, diğer araba, the other car, and now the result will be bu araba, diğer arabadan daha hızlı. Bu araba diğer arabadan daha hızlı. So that's the order. Of course, sometimes you can change this order. Like in Turkish, there's not always a very strict order. Sometimes you can invert it. Like diğer arabadan bu araba daha hızlı, or daha hızlı bu araba diğer arabadan. But you will never break down the suffixes. You will like take them as full phrases, and then that's how you will change them. So like you will put it here, you will put it here, but you will never break them into suffixes. Just keep them as full phrases. Okay, so let's do one more example, and let's do that with you this time. So bu çocuk, I will use the same examples from earlier. Akıllı, we will compare them by them being smart. And diğer çocuk, the other kid. So now I want to say this kid is smarter than the other kid. How would you say that? You can chat your answer into, you can type your answer into the chat. You can just type it. Don't bother with spoilers. I mean, spoilers will be better, but not everyone is still familiar with it. So, bu çocuk diğer çocuktan daha akıllı. Bu çocuk diğer çocuktan daha akıllı. Yes. Bu çocuk diğer çocuktan daha akıllı. So now we have an example of consonant hardening here. In the first example, it was done because there's no fıstıkçı şahap letter here, so I can simply use da. In this case, there is the fıstıkçı şahap letter here, so it has to change to ta, tan. Spoilers, maybe we can start using spoilers. I can just explain them. You can use these, I think they are called pipes, like answer, like araba, and then this. Or you can do this slash command. Then you can type spoiler. Discord will show up some little text option. Then you can type your answer. It will turn into a spoiler. There are two ways to do it with spoilers. So yeah, let's agree on using spoilers even for every answer. So it will still give other people to participate. Okay, so bu sigara diğer sigaradan daha güzel. Yes, correct. Let's write this into the table. Bu sigara, these cigarettes, güzel, beautiful or nice. Güzel means beautiful, good or nice. And then diğer sigara. So bu sigara diğer sigaradan daha güzel. Okay, I think 3 examples are good enough for now. There's something I want to talk about. As some of you have already noticed in the chat, it's the word order. When you translate these results directly to English, things get a little bit complicated. And it's here. The word order is basically the other way around in Turkish. So when I say bu araba diğer arabadan daha hızlıdır, there is tricky. It's technically there, but it's not always, you know, said. Like you don't always use it. It's basically M is R, the to be verb in this context. So this car, bu araba, then the other car, diğer arabadan. Actually, I wanted to stick with the English rules. Maybe I can go with this. Yeah, this car, bu araba, diğer araba, the other car, dan, then, daha hızlı, more expensive, daha hızlı. Oh, hızlı means expensive now. Of course, not expensive, fast. I was thinking about pahalı. So I want to write this as well, just to correct things. Bu araba diğer arabadan daha pahalıdır. This car, the other car than, like, more expensive. Okay? Yeah, daha pahalı. Bu araba diğer arabadan daha pahalı. Now, the new one, the most. In some other books, that one is also known as, if I can pronounce it properly, superlatives. So, you know, the most thing, the most, like the biggest, the smallest. That's what I mean by comparing to the most degree. How do we say the most in Turkish? That's how. We basically use en. When you compare something to the most degree, the keyword for comparison is en. Oh wait, that doesn't belong here. En basically means the most. And in English, at least, there are some examples. Instead of saying the most, you will say the biggest. But in Turkish, it's always en. So we can have examples. Wait, not this. So I want to call it superlative. So now hızlı root, en hızlı, like the fastest, en hızlı. And then büyük, en büyük, the biggest. So about the pronunciation of n, there's a thing called closed e and open e. Some people may say n, like en büyük, en küçük. You will hear this quite often, even though it's actually not correct way to say it. It's more like en hızlı, en büyük. But most of the native speakers will say en büyük, en küçük. Okay, so we can have more examples, but it will always be the same thing, like akıllı, en akıllı, the smartest. It sounded the same to me. Maybe I can't say them clearly, like en hızlı, en hızlı. I mean, you can maybe search it on YouTube, like açık e, kapalı e. You can hear other pronunciation. At least there's a guy on Instagram. He does, you know, speech, and he teaches people how to improve their pronunciation, even native speakers. You can follow this guy on Instagram. He does very useful videos, real videos. You may hear it from him. So back to our topic. Let me see. The other thing I want to talk about. If you remember, I mentioned the reference element. So like with comparing to higher or lesser, we have than. How do you do that with the most? Because you can still do it with like than, like this this car is the most, is the fastest. Then actually with than and most doesn't actually work. So instead of than, I have this better alternative reference elements with the most. So what I am talking about here is, again, a göre, but more preferably içinde. I know you will be like içinde, inside, like it doesn't make sense to you for now, but içinde doesn't always mean inside. It also means among. So like among the other cars, that's the fastest. That's what I am trying to say. There are some other ways to say it, like maybe we can just go with examples. Bu araba diğer arabalar içinde en hızlı. This car is fastest among the other cars. Or, as Megan suggested, this car, bu araba, is the fastest of the three. That one requires possessive and genitive endings, so it will be like bu araba diğer 3 arabanın en hızlısı. Or bu araba 3 arabadan en hızlısı. Bu araba 3 arabadan en hızlısı. Okay, you can say içinde, or among, or within, or you can use possessive and genitive endings for like fastest of the three. This doesn't mean exactly the same actually, because that means the first one means there are four cars, and that one is the fastest than the other three. I want to put them into different lines actually. They mean different things. It's like hangi and hangisi. Yeah, which of these? And that's the like, this is the fastest of the three. En hızlısı. Okay, so I'll move to the next or the last category, comparing to the same degree. And that's all. Haftaya görüşürüz. Kendinize iyi bakın. İyi akşamlar.